The 2014 USMTO numbers are just in. They were up, making it one of the top 3 years in the last 20. We're going to share with you why that was a top year and what we expect to happen in the first half of 2015. Because since the summer of 2013, one of the primary companies we work with, Oxford Economics, has been projecting that the year-end number for 2014 over 13 would be about 4% up. We finished the year up 3.6%. You can't get much closer than that. So props to Oxford Economics, and let's move on to some of the more important issues that came out during the course of the statistics we got for December. Start off with, it was 33% up higher than November. You got to be happy about that. Everybody was worried about November being a huge signal about what the oil industry was going to be doing to orders going into the future. We bounced back immediately after that in December with a really nice set of orders. Typically shipments go up high in December for us, but not necessarily orders. People are so busy trying to get things out the door to help make the year-end numbers that orders usually suffer. They didn't this year. They actually picked up dramatically, and we finished off the year with a good number. Ended up basically $5.1 billion for the year. A great number, one of the top 3 numbers in the last 20 years. But why? How do we get there and where are we going? Everybody's talking about cutting their capital spendings in the oil and gas industry, and you've seen it all over the pages. Hundreds of millions of dollars, even sometimes billions of dollars. But what gets lost in all that, because of the dramatic drop in the oil prices, are the people who've been announcing significant increases in employment and huge expansions to their capital spending. I mean, how many of you saw yesterday's paper where GM announces a $9 billion expansion in capital expenditures during 2015? I wouldn't imagine many of you, because when I looked at the Wall Street Journal, again, it was focusing on oil prices and the damage it was doing to the economy in the lower Midwest. But there are a lot of bright spots out there. For me, having just come out of a Federal Reserve conference yesterday, the focus was on the Southeast. And everything I heard there about what's going on with respect to manufacturing and growth is just crescendoed with respect to our particular industry. It may not be the largest sector or region in manufacturing technology orders, but it is obviously the fastest growing. While we've had single-digit decline in 2013 and a single-digit increase in 2014 orders overall for the nation, in both those years, the Southeast region has grown by double-digit figures, growing up 12%, 14 over 13. Okay, and why? Because you had the auto industry has gone in there in a big way. BMW, who's been in that particular area for the last 15, 20 years, has put another $1 billion in. Boeing, who already has a substantial presence in South Carolina, because all the fuselages for the 787 are built there and either finished in South Carolina or shipped to Seattle to be finished off there. They're putting another $1 billion into South Carolina facilities as well, and have made a huge land grab in the Charleston area to be able to support the expansion they're looking to do. But it's just not those two. You're seeing tons of suppliers to both of those organizations, as well as Mercedes, Hyundai, a number of other manufacturers. And I heard a story that there might be an Indian auto manufacturer who's going to be planning to move into the Southeast as well. So it's one of the fastest growing areas for manufacturing in the United States, fast coming up the ranks as being one of the largest places for orders as well. And in just the past few days, we've seen a number of mergers and acquisitions in the aerospace industry, signaling expansion and growth in their capital spending. You have, as an example, Harris buying Excelsius, a number of deals going out in the West Coast that will not just do some consolidation, but it will also see some expansion in their product offerings. And outside the aerospace industry, the job shop industry is going great guns. I just came from a meeting of industry executives at the end of January, and everyone's talking about how well the job shop industry is doing as far as a customer. That's not regional, that's across the country. Whether you're talking about West Coast, East Coast, Great Lakes, or the Southeast. And then of course the automotive industry. I've said this a number of times. You've got 11, 12 new drivetrains coming out in the 15, 16, and 17. You have one of our automotive experts suggesting that you're going to see several hundred new models worldwide being developed and introduced over the course of the next 4 years. There's no sign of the automotive industry beginning to do a downturn in capital spending. All the signs show they're going to continue to grow. Again, the GM announcement earlier this week is a good example of that. And then finally, one of the key things we see happening over the course of the next year that will help bolster our orders. Even though we'll see some off-road and highway construction demand for capital equipment go down a little bit, we'll see the oil and gas industry see a bit of a decline as well. We expect that even in those industries, you're going to see an increased investment in automation to be added on to existing capital expenditures as well as capital equipment that they put in place during the course of 2015 across all industries. So, aerospace, automotive, job shops, and the addition of automation equipment to existing and future capital expenditures all signal a strong start to 2015 as we move out through the first half. Our next report will be on January orders, beginning of the year, and we'll be doing that from MFG in Orlando, Florida. A chance where we get to talk to almost 400 executives that are either selling or purchasing capital equipment. So we'll have a little bit more in-depth perspective on not just what the numbers say, but what the customers are saying as well.